So when you're working for a green belt, so you've achieved green tag, and you're working towards your green belt, the pattern that you work on is a pattern called Do-san. So at this point, you'll have done Chunji, Dan-gun, and your directional movements. So from here, we're in Jumbi, same position, in our ready stance. We step out to the left into walking stance in an outer forearm, a high section block. So this is at eye level, half facing from here. From here, we're going to be doing a punch. So we relax, down, up, and change to a full facing position here. We have what's called a step turn here. Okay, so a step turn is where we're not bringing our foot all the way close to our foot, we're doing a little movement. So we move, we relax, step, and then we move into our next high section block on this side. Again, from here, we relax, and we move into a high section punch. So the next movement from here is a knife hand guarding block, which we're familiar with, moving to the left. Step, hands come up, down into the knife hand guarding block. The next movement from here, just note that this is an L stance, we're going now into walking stance. So we spring into action into a straight fingertip thrust. So hands are out and in as they travel. From here, we imagine we've been grabbed. We imagine our hand has been grabbed and we need to release from the grab. How we release from the grab is we move slightly in and come up onto the balls of our feet. So if you notice my feet now, their position, they're going to change from here into this position, so onto the balls of the feet. And that's prepping for our next movement, which is a turn. So here is the release. This is called Yapsul Tae in Korean. So from here we release. So the idea is we release the hand. Now we're going to spin around and land in a back fist strike. So this is the tool, and the target is the side of the head or the temple. Okay, I'm going to come back to that spin again in a moment, but we'll keep going on as the way the pattern is. We have another one of these going forwards, chamber on the outside, and then we have our back fist strike, back knuckle strike. What we do from here is we repeat the start. So we're going to pivot and repeat the start. So we have our outer forearm high section block and half facing, down, up, down, punch. We do our step turn. So weight goes this way, and then into our half facing block. Down, up, down with our sine wave, and we have our reverse punch. The next move from here is where we're going to move slightly off to an angle into what's called hechomaki. So it's a twin block. So we're in this position here. We're going to bring our feet up into this position. We're going to chamber our hands in front of our solar plexus, our chest, and step slightly off at the angle. So around this position here. Okay? So we were traveling straight and going left and right, and now we're slightly off to an angle. The next movements from here, we're going to do a front snap kick to the solar plexus, followed by 2 fast motion punches. So we come up, front snap kick, 2 fast motion punches. Now we imagine there's an attacker coming from this side. So we bring this foot that's in front back to where we were, step out to the side slightly, block our attack, our twin attack coming in, then front snap kick to the solar plexus, 2 fast motion punches. From here, we come back onto our line, into our center line, in terms of imagine the plus sign. So we've been at angles, and then we move back onto the line with a rising block, another rising block. Now from here, we pivot into a sitting stance knife hand strike. Again, this can be a tricky movement to get right. We'll demonstrate it and then talk about it in a moment. So sitting stance knife hand strike, we look where we're striking. And then from here, little arc, again, sitting stance knife hand strike. Paro, which means return. Okay, so the things in Do-san, just to talk about, things that can be tricky. There's a couple of things that can be tricky in Do-san. First one is that step turn. So you're in this position here in the block and you do your punch. The step turn, just remember this, it is not foot to foot and then out this way, okay? We'll explain the details of this in class more, but just in terms of the practice, imagine that the weight is going to the back foot a little bit, and then the weight is going to, you move this foot in slightly, okay? Weight goes this direction, move this foot in slightly, and then land on the opposite side. So again, from here you've had that reverse punch, we do our step turn, relax, relax, okay? That's the idea with this. We want to stay nice and low, and then with our sine wave. Okay, so step turn, that can be tricky. We'll explain the full details of that in class, as I say, but it's just what you're looking for as a baseline. The next thing then is when we move off to those angles from here. So I'm going to do this in front of the camera. So we move off to an angle like this, and we have our Heteromachi blocks. We block 2 twin attacks. Front snap kick, solar plexus. Once we do that front snap kick, we must control and we must do a sine wave then after this, after that kick. So we relax, we bend the knee, and then we're going to do our punch as we go forward. So if you imagine this, we've done our front snap kick, we come forward. So a tip for the fast motion punch is as follows. After the front snap kick, the foot, when that foot lands, the front foot lands, so at the same time, exact same time, as soon as that happens, as soon as that foot lands, because we're in fast motion punches, that back foot, the heel here, comes up off the floor, and then we do our fast motion punch. So again, from this position, we have front snap kick, land. So that movement there, to practice that, because it is tricky, to break it down, lift your foot off the floor as if the front snap kick position, as if you've done your front snap kick, you step. So as soon as that front foot hits the floor with the hand, the back foot is on the way up, and that's our fast motion punch. Okay, so again, the movement like this. Whoop, I'll try one more time. That's our fast motion punch there. Finally, with those hands, the other tricky part is the pivot turn, okay, which is not necessarily the turn at this point because you've done a few, but it's stepping into sitting stance. So a common error here is we will have done our high section block. So this is our last high section block, and we'll pivot into sitting stance. A common error is that the feet will go into some sort of an L stance or a walking stance, and the feet are incorrect here. In a sitting stance, the feet must be forwards, like this. You grip the edges of the mat, and you should almost have a little gap on the instep there. And your knees are just coming over towards the ball of your foot, knees are not in, pushing out, so strong legs. So to get to that position can be tricky, especially when you're learning it first. So here's a few tips for that. You're in that position. We are coming to here, again we prep. As we're going to go out, we're doing a knife hand strike. So chambers on the inside, we have that twisting motion as always. So imagine, once I get to this position, this foot is in the correct place, this foot here. I have to step this foot out, and I want to imagine my foot, edge of the foot gripping the mat. So I don't want to just go, I'm just going to step out. I want to imagine from here that the edge of my foot is going to grip into the mat. This foot should be in the right position once the pivot is right. So we're here, we pivot, should be in pretty much the right position, and then we step and we do our strike. The next movement from here, the feet are already in the right position, but we have to get some more power. So we step to here, we relax, we chamber in, and you'll see this foot here is going to do a little arc. It's going to arc slightly out. This helps involve the hip in that movement a little bit more. Okay, so just I've talked through it a little bit just as a demo one more time, because everything must end together, hands, eyes, feet, breath. We come from this position, we chamber, step to sitting stance, step to sitting stance.